I can just imagine, like, you're in the bedroom and you're like, the Beetlejuice costume stays on.
100%.
Yeah, but what's he gonna wear?
Hello, welcome to Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. I'm Kate.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Kirsten.
And today is a special Valentine's Day episode where we will be playing two games. First is Hear Me Out, where we will be making a case for anime, manga, and comic book characters. Second, we will be playing a comic book and manga themed version of Fuck, Marry, Kill. It'll be fun, it'll probably be off the rails, it'll get a little wild, so strap in. Who would like to go first for their Hear Me Out?
I could make a case for mine.
Okay.
So I actually have two, depending on how we feel about it. But most of my answers for these questions are pulled from either episodes that have already been released or episodes that we have recorded but are not yet released. So I'm going to pull from something that I don't know if it's on the live feed right now, but we did discuss the first arc of Solo Leveling. So I am going to say, hear me out for the God statue from the dungeon trap from Solo Leveling. The giant killer statue that is part of a evil, malicious Indiana Jones style trap. Notably, this giant statue has its own temple, so it's clearly it's living on its own. It's got a name for itself. It's doing its own thing, but it does have a bunch of other statues of supplicants around it. So the statue, the killer god statue, happens to have its own group of friends and its own social life. You really don't want a partner who's only going to be hanging out with your friends. You want a partner who has their own friends group. And also, it likes puzzles, which is great, because the only way you survive the killer god statue is if you've successfully figured out what kind of puzzle it's got going on. And finally, it's got to have a great personality, and with a giant smile like that, what else can I say? But it's got a smile that shows me that it's not afraid to look silly in front of people when it's doing its hobby. So yeah, and also, let's face it, this is the internet. I know there's a group of people who would absolutely love a statue / monster that looks like the bastard love child of the Statue of Liberty and the Joker.
Do you have a picture of this statue?
Hold on. I'll
Kate,
post
do you
it for
need a picture of the statue?
I mean, no, but I'm trying to be open-minded.
There's no open-mindedness. Tom, in what capacity are you suggesting? Is this like a romantic capacity?
A reasonable. I believe that this is
Jesus
like
absolutely not.
Not
Absolutely not. No. In no universe.
Oh, but
Go
that's
to
just
jail.
such a big smile. That's just,
Tom.
the statue's happy to be here.
Hold up. Are you best friends with the statue? Are you romantically involved?
Listen, it probably would involve having to convert to whatever that thing's religion is. So it's not
100%.
a significant other for me. But I also know, again, it's a mutant love child of the Statue of Liberty and the Joker. There are people on the internet who go feral for that sort of thing. But if we're going with someone who's actually much more my type, then I have another option of Hear Me Out. This is from another comic that I know hasn't come out yet on our feed. But so she is, in fact, a self-starter. She is very big on investing in her community. She helps, she's big on family. She actually helps build a family, but also she doesn't control her family, crucially. She actually lets them go out and do their own thing, and even if they disagree with her. I was going to say, I think Jordan has figured out who I'm talking about, but...
No, it's the fact that you had to state she lets them leave.
Yes. Well, no, that's the thing, is like, listen, we've talked about another comic that happens to have a mother figure who really doesn't like her daughter leaving. If you remember. And yeah, here's a picture of her. You know her. You love her. She is Hester Beck, the Witch of Harrow County.
Thomas.
I'm sorry. What's wrong with Hester Beck?
No.
What? She
Why did you choose that picture?
Because it goes so hard. It is like, no, if you want, like, that is literally the picture I have used to sell Harrow County to people. So if you're not able to see this with your ears, it is a picture of Hester Beck holding a cow skull in, like, bathed in red light. So,
that is not
Isn't that
red
blood?
light. Yeah, that's
maybe
blood.
that is blood. Okay, yeah, no, I think
That is
blood.
absolutely blood.
Yeah, okay, that is blood. She's holding a cow skull. She's got blood on her hands and on her front smock. She's doing witchy stuff. I'm just gonna say, again, she's creative. She's into arts and crafts. She arts and crafted an entire population of a county out of mud and brought them to life. That's another great thing. Again, Hester Beck, absolute fantastic as a possible prospect. Also, if she had more relationships with people who weren't made out of clay and animated by magic, I think she would be a lot more chill. If you've actually read Harrow County, then you know I'm not telling the truth. Hester Beck actually gets even more unhinged, but they haven't read Harrow County, so don't tell them. Or they haven't read that far in Harrow County, so don't tell them.
So this is the one that is more your speed?
Yes.
Just because someone has a bone collection, Kate, doesn't mean they're creepy.
To be fair,
That's not the reason I think she's creepy.
to be fair, she also has a lovely smile. So
Yeah.
you know.
Giant smile. Again, what's this anti-smile prejudice on here?
Tom has a thing for people who give, like, creepy smiles.
Yes.
It's the same smile.
This
It's
is-
just the top teeth.
Yeah.
Good God.
I mean, yeah, no, actually, like, creepy smiles is something that I do look for in a partner.
Good to know. You found him.
Well, if we're really going to go with someone else, I'll just say the Abandoned from Harrow County, because he's large, solitary, lives alone, likes having people around, but is also so grumpy he likes to be an introvert, and most people are terrified to look at him, because if someone can like that can find love, then that means I can find love, because I identify with a lot of those things. Anyways, who's next?
Do we need to analyze that?
I
No,
was
we
gonna
don't.
We cannot.
We do not.
go
We do
past-
not have the time to analyze that. Let's move on.
Okay. I veto both choices.
So the Abandoned it is. Anyways.
Jeez.
You said hear me out and I say no.
Okay, well, what's yours?
I might have misunderstood the assignment.
Who is your hear me out?
Well, first I picked Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove.
Hell yeah.
The
What?
parameters that you gave me were something that most people don't think is attractive. Kronk, I have been told, is.
That's why I was like, I gotta pick another one.
Okay.
So, my second pick is Eraserhead from My Hero Academia.
Okay, yeah, no, I see it.
Right?
No, yeah.
Yeah, because he's such a softie.
I need a
And he's
picture.
really good with kids.
I need a picture.
a picture. Okay, I'll give a picture.
For
Hold on,
reference,
somebody else talk.
for reference, Eraserhead is a superhero. He has nothing to do with the horrifying mutant baby from that one movie called Eraserhead. He is the teacher for Class 1A, I think it is, in My Hero Academia. He is a superpower hero whose power is that he can nullify superpowers as long as he is looking at someone and not blinking.
Oh.
So he actually has like these Ludovicio technique style goggles that he puts on. So when he needs to nullify superpowers, it keeps him from blinking. But he's actually also there to like he's perpetually looks like the most tired man on earth. As someone who teaches, I understand that feeling. But
I feel him spiritually.
yes, exactly. But he also will give the really good advice to the characters, the main characters of the series. So like, yeah, no, Eraserhead makes perfect sense.
Yeah, he's really nice to the kids. He is a big softie on the inside. He's perpetually tired, as you can see by the picture I posted of him in his sleeping bag. That's how he showed up to class one day to teach. We can only dream of having that kind of job. He is a little grumpy, but that's okay because inside he's just like adorable. He's very good to his friends. He's friends with like this really annoying guy named, what's his name? Something Mike.
Present Mike.
Present Mike? Thank
It's
you.
something
Present
like that.
Mike.
I think it's Present Mike.
Yeah. And he's kind of annoying, but Aizawa is like really nice to him. And and he adopts a little like, is it mutant? Like this little kind of girl, Aerie?
I'm not sure what to call her.
Yeah.
But yes, he does adopt. And the whole thing with Present Mike is that he is a sound-based superhero, and he's also an English teacher and a DJ. So he is just the most loud theater kid energy. And Aizawa, that's Eraserhead's real name, they are somehow friends with each other because they're just kind of like very much opposites. And Eraserhead is this very quiet guy, but when the series does its requisite tournament arc where people got to do like a whole tournament, Eraserhead and Present Mike are the commentators for that reason.
And poor Eraserhead like just spent the past arc getting beaten to a pulp trying to like protect his students, and so poor Eraserhead is like head to toe in like this body cast. But yeah, it's sweet. And yeah, and he at towards the end of the run, he adopts like I feel like mutant is kind of like a bad word, but like it's like this mutant kind of like girl with powers named Aerie, and he like tries to kind of like be like a stabilizing force for her and like help her kind of like use her powers for good. Yeah, I just really like him a lot. But yeah, that's my pick. Who is next?
I want to hear Jordan's.
Okay, so as the ace person on this podcast, I'm not sure I understand this correctly. I got very specific directions from Kate and Tom on how this is supposed to work. So I did not think we were picking humanoid things.
You don't have to.
We don't have to.
That's the whole point. That's why I had a statue, you know?
I was told pick strange things. I picked Danny the Street, who is fantastic. Yes. So in the current incarnation, they are genderqueer. So they use they, them pronouns. But they are literally they're a sentient street that can teleport to where they are needed. And they gather outcasts and misfits and the LGBTQIA plus community and are a safe space for them. So
Aww.
Danny is fantastic. They are introduced in the Doom Patrol. They have shown up in the Teen Titans comics. I think currently in the Gerard Way run of Doom Patrol, they are now Danny the Brick because they were destroyed at one point. But the name Danny the Street is actually based on the Irish drag performer Danny LaRue. So fun fact. And that's how their personality was originally created when they were created by Grant Morrison. So I love Danny.
Post a picture.
I did. It's in the chat earlier up.
Oh.
Danny the Street it's literally just like a street that teleports and reappears wherever
they're needed.
Wherever they are needed, and it's like a street where you can go on. Literally, it's a place where people who are like runaways can go, and Danny the Street is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And so how they protect themselves and their community is using the Perpetual Cabaret. So that is the standing army for Danny the Street.
Yes.
I love that.
So I just made my Hear Me Out is a literal safe space.
That's really nice.
Yeah, like that is understanding the assignment of the Hear Me Out. It's the point is to pick something that is kind of like a weird thing to pick. And if you've watched the Doom Patrol TV show, Danny the Street does show up in it.
And if you don't love Danny, you're wrong. So
Jordan's gonna fight you in the parking lot.
I mean, Danny the Street is one of the best things to come out of that Doom Patrol series. Oh, the original not original Doom Patrol, but like the Grant Morrison Doom Patrol, which is a series that deliberately leans into the inherent silliness of comics in a way that also doesn't like talk down to the audience. Mm-hmm. And it lets it be smart.
And sometimes you need pink frills on your army supply store.
Yes. So that
you always need pink frills on your army supply store.
Yeah, no, that's part of the thing when we're talking about like Danny presenting non-binary. Danny has like military supply stores and like sporting goods stores. It's just whenever they appear on the street, Danny's version of them always look like a Lisa Frank exploded around them. So you'll have this like Army Navy store with like neon pinks, yellows, and all that, like, which also, if you read comics, like that kind of neon color just is really fun to see in like comic coloring. So it really works.
That's a great pick. Do you have any others, Jordan, or was that your one pick?
That was my one. It took me forever. Sorry.
Okay. All right, Kirsten, you're up.
Oh, well, man, maybe I went too honest. I don't...
No.
I went too honest and they made fun of me, so, you know.
Was it the statue? What?
No, I just the evil smile and the witch and all that, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I picked Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen, which is kind of like the basic bitch monster fucker answer. Maybe not to you guys, but like,
I'm not super familiar with Jujutsu Kaisen, but when I I looked up his name, and I'm like, oh yes, I've seen people do fan art and cosplay of this guy. Is that the main character?
kind of. So,
Or like the main villain? Or main villain?
yes. So Sukuna used to be a human. He was super into jujutsu sorcery to the point that he started murdering people. And there's a theory he started eating people. And so he became a cursed spirit. And I'm trying to show the picture of like him as a cursed spirit, but like for some reason Google Drive is like, this is mine now. You can't have it back.
I just like that when I looked him up, they have his aliases, his species, all of that, and then finally it says religion, and it has his religions, Buddhism and Shinto.
Yeah. So he
So he does have a strong faith.
So actually, it's kind of cool. So in Buddhism, there's that thing where like the Buddhist monks will basically become mummified. Like they've prayed so hard that they've died and now they've become mummified, like in that praying position. And so that's what Sukuna does. And so at the beginning of the story, Yuji, who is like who Sukuna has like inhabited currently, eats one of his fingers from his mummified self accidentally, but kind of on purpose.
I hate it when that happens.
And so Sukuna is normally shown like as Yuji, but like originally he's like this four-armed thing, which is what I'm proposing here, not the normal human.
The multiple limbs.
Yes. Yes.
I was gonna say, wait, is his name that because like the mummification process that you talked about is called like Sakushin Butsu or Sokushin Butsu? I'm like, is his name that as a reference to
I don't
Sokushin
I
Butsu?
don't think so. I think he was a reference to like a real person in history.
Okay.
And then
Kirsten, I completely understand, and this guy can get it.
okay, so his big power, it's so their big powers are called domain expansions, where like you would trap somebody in your domain and like immediately be able to kill them. His is called Malevolent Shrine, and it basically looks like a kitchen, and his powers are to hack and slash. And so everybody's like,
So he can cook for you.
he cooks people.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, if you're gonna go for like stabbing people, like the kitchen is the room of the house with the most knives.
Yeah, he cooks people. Like at one point, he eats his mummified body. Well, so Sukuna's domain expansion is even more like fucked. Because, so for the most part, like when people do it, you get trapped in like a separate dimension where they keep you. Sukuna's is actually open. So you could potentially run away. It's like 200 meters to run away. But in that time, his hack and slash powers are immediately going to try to dice you up. So it's like you can try to get out.
Okay, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Does he have a little like person that he protects or he cares about?
He's got like one person he likes. And likes is like a strong word for this. Uh,
Okay.
That he would not kill.
he hasn't killed them. He seemed kind of excited when they popped back up in this current timeline.
I will take the scraps. Cause that's all he needs is like the one person he wants to like protect and care about and like not kill.
I mean,
'Cause that's
there's this
healthy.
like fan theory that so he actually wants to inhabit this body of this kid named Megumi who has like this pretty serious technique. And so he goes out of his way to protect Megumi with like the sole purpose of like inhabiting his body at some point. But like there was like a fan shipping theory where like he was secretly in love with Megumi and was protecting him.
Oh.
That is not the case at all, but like there was that like cute little
Uh,
thing. Also, he
the
murdered,
Hannibal comparison is apt.
Yes. Yes,
but
it is.
also he murdered like a good solid chunk of Tokyo. So
All right. What else do you have, Kirsten?
That was my only one. I mean, yeah, I mean, like I can come up with more, but that's what I got.
Do
Um,
it.
do it.
Yeah, see, my list started off with Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. And then I did Milo from Atlantis. And then I was like, these guys I think might be too attractive.
Also, not comics.
That is correct. Also not comics. And then I put Shigo from Kim Possible. And then I was like, oh, I got it. Aizawa from My Hero Academia. So that was my thought process.
Okay, but all of those examples were also humans, and you specifically told me non-human.
I didn't say non-human. I said the weirder the better. And I'm just not very weird. That is a me problem.
Actually, let's see. I do have one. Hold on. And I don't know. I don't know if I'd want him romantically, but like he's kind of adorable in the same way that the guy from Baldur's Gate, the really adorable one with the hamster.
Minsk?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
he's like
yeah.
adorable in the same way Minsk is. Like I don't know if I'd want to date him, but like I'd certainly like love to be around him forever.
You want to friend him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Minsk is if anyone
It's the alligator.
hurts him, we're gonna kill him. Oh, okay.
That's cute. He does give off Minsk energy.
He's so cute. What does he call them? He calls them like, is it little humans? Like what? This one is also a webtoon that they turned into an anime.
What is it?
Tower of God.
I haven't read that, but that sounds familiar.
A lot of people did covers of I think it's the opening track for that. So that might be why it sounds familiar, Tom.
He calls them turtles. He calls them little turtles. I don't know why, but he calls them turtles. And it's so cute.
The humans he calls turtles?
Yeah, he calls all the humans little turtles.
That's cute.
Don't alligators eat turtles?
Don't make it dark.
Yeah, his name is Rock, and he's not an alligator. He's something else, but like he looks like one. But he starts off like really tough, and he's like, "I'm gonna murder you," and then like they become best friends. And he's like dumb in a himbo way, and it's adorable.
Alrighty. So I am going to move us over to our Fuck, Marry, Kill game. So I am going to start, and I'm going to choose 3 comic book characters, or like 3 people, and then 3 situations. And you guys are going to have to figure it out. I am going to give you Tony Stark, Bucky Barnes, and Steve Rogers. Which one would you fuck, which one would you marry, and which one would you kill?
Kill Tony Stark because Iron Man casts too much of a shadow over the MCU already. Then probably fuck Bucky Barnes because robot arm, and I need to keep that joke going. And marry Steve Rogers because that would be a better ending than what they did in Endgame, where he went back in time and went back into the 40s. It didn't change history at all, just ended up with Peggy. I think anything's better than that, so obviously marry Steve Rogers.
That is literally the exact thing that I would do.
Listen, I have to play the robot hand card
Yeah.
anytime I can, because after that episode I re-listened to it and I'm like, yeah, that's going to become my thing now. I'm going to be the robot hand guy.
Kirsten, which would you like to do?
Well, me and Tom might be too much alike. This might not be the best episode for this. So I would actually kill Steve Rogers.
Whoa.
Look, he's kind of boring.
He's the Superman of the Marvel Universe.
I like those characters.
I would fuck Bucky just because of the robot arm.
We're all horny for the robot arm.
Don't let me in with y'all.
And then I would marry Tony Stark. I hate Tony Stark, by the way, but I would marry Tony Stark because A, I would be set for life, and B, he's got a robot outfit, and I'm sure we could make something work.
You don't marry Tony Stark. You divorce Tony Stark and take half of his stuff.
Kirsten is living here on God mode.
Yeah, just be like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, who is like has more money than God because she got half of everything he had when they
Okay.
Put some respect on Mackenzie Scott's name.
I was going to say, I was about to say, actually, literally, I was about to put some respect on Mackenzie Scott's name because I was going to say, but I will say also Mackenzie Scott did have a huge hand in like making Amazon the company it is today. So like, it wasn't that she did nothing. It's just
she's righting her wrongs.
I was going to say, I just like anyone who gets to run off with a giant comically large bag of money with a $sign on it from the real life Lex Luthor looking guy.
Okay, but if you marry Tony and then kill him, then you get all of it.
Okay, we're not allowed to do all three to the same person because like.
Oh, I was only going 2 of the 3, but that's fine.
I was going to say, well, even then, like, yeah, okay, if we're going to do that, then yes, obviously, you marry someone and then kill them and get all their stuff. But, like, the problem is also they're comic book characters, so they will come back and want revenge.
Question, would Tony want revenge, or would he be like, you know what, same. I would have done the same.
Yeah, he probably would be like, respect, that's fine. Just, I need something to work off of. Can I have my lab back?
It depends on which, like, writer is writing Tony at a given time.
I don't like Tony Stark. I think that, like, well, like you said, Tom, he overshadows the MCU. But also, I have seen Avengers Civil War, and I think he rolled over to the government, and I don't respect him.
There's this comic that heavily inspired that movie, and it was infamous for Iron Man and, like, the direction he goes. And the Iron Man of that movie is positively chill compared to what he does in the comics.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, no joke.
From what I understand of relationships, though, Kate, respect doesn't come into it.
Respect
should.
There better be respect in my relationship.
It should.
Especially if it's like Tony and you're just getting money from him.
That's why I wouldn't be married. I need to have respect with my partners. So I don't respect Tony. I will not be marrying or fucking Tony.
But he can make a separate robot for you to do option number 2, you know?
You know what? I'm open to conversations. Because look, we're all, like I said before, we like the robot arms.
I just like it because of the bit. My robot hand!
Allosexuals are weird.
Yes, they are.
Okay, somebody else pick 3 people in a situation.
It's, rather than the traditional one, it was play board games with, have a quiet but intense dinner with, or disappoint. And mine actually has pairs of people based on comics that we've done, that we've either already done episodes on or have recorded. So board games, quiet but intense dinner, and disappoint. For Batman and Red Hood, Daredevil and Kingpin, and Domino and Deadpool.
Oh, I would love to play board games with Domino and Deadpool.
You would lose immediately because Domino would have to win.
I don't care about losing or winning. You know this. I would disappoint Batman because I feel like that's just how he lives his life. And then what was the other one?
Quiet but intense dinner with Daredevil and Kingpin.
Yeah, that feels right. That does.
They
feel
are
right.
soulmates, but for murder.
What do you guys think?
I think if any of us tried to play board games with Jason and Batman, it'd end with, like, Jason throwing a fit and leaving. There's no way that goes well.
Yeah, I mean, he is...
Much as I love Jason.
I mean, that is entirely what the whole finale of Under the Red Hood is. It's like, okay, fine, I'm going to have a tantrum, and I'm going to force you to make a choice. Contrived an entire situation. He seems like one of the people who would cry during Monopoly.
I've made people cry during Monopoly.
Kirsten, where are you on this?
So I'm kind of a troll, so I would want to watch Kingpin and Daredevil play a board game and just, like, I don't know.
They should play Pictionary.
I was gonna go with, like,
okay.
Uno, like...
Okay.
No.
Okay, Jordan, you go to jail for that. Directly to jail.
But in the Devil in Cell Block B, clearly he can read.
We had that entire conversation. About how Daredevil's a blind guy whose power is he can see. But Kirsten.
Yeah.
Back to what you were saying.
Okay.
Sorry.
So there was the quiet but intense conversation, and what was the last one? Disappoint?
Quiet but intense dinner and disappoint.
I think I'd have the dinner with Domino and Daredevil. Or not Daredevil, Domino and Deadpool. And then I don't mind disappointing Batman.
I just feel like that's how he lives his life.
Why
you know?
why try to change him?
He's used to it.
So how long do you think the dinner being quiet would last with Deadpool.
Exactly.
Not long.
That's where the intense comes from. Because it
Mhm.
would be, if it's quiet but intense, then that means Deadpool has probably planted an explosive somewhere.
Yep.
Or canonically, Deadpool likes to cook, and he's the guy who made dinner. That is the other thing. But I am with Kirsten. I want Daredevil and the Kingpin to play board games together. Specifically, I want Daredevil and Kingpin to play Catan.
Ooh.
I want to see what would happen. It would be so fascinating to me. I want to have a quiet but intense dinner with Batman and Red Hood, because if it's Batman, then like he's rich and he probably has like a 12-course dinner. This is the Merry Tony Stark of dinners. And then disappoint Domino and Deadpool, mostly because I figure that disappointing them is how you start the adventure, and then it pays off later. If I've learned anything from Domino Comics, is that like there's a disappointment and then something happens. Like in her run, the guy that they go to rescue is actually a sleeper agent for the bad guys, and he's like supposed to actually go after her, but she recruits him, and he becomes like the chef on the boat they live on. He's like her butler who takes care of her dog, and like frankly, I would love to get some kind of like employment where I have a stipend and all that sort of thing. Like I can only hope that if I disappoint Domino in the right way, she recruits me to work on her houseboat too.
That makes sense. I have a question for Jordan.
Okay.
The scenario is stuck in an elevator with, have as your boss, or fight. The people are the Robins. So,
Okay.
Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake.
Tim Drake stuck in an elevator with because I am claustrophobic and he can get me out the fastest. Grayson as a boss, just because I feel like I could get he wouldn't be too overbearing and he's a decent leader when it comes to like the Teen Titans. And then fight Jason because of the 3 Robins, I might be able to take him.
Okay.
All you have to do is tell Jason, "Look, a clown!" And he looks away.
Oh, that's dark.
Well, I mean, I could just talk about his family and try to beat him that way.
You could just tell Jason your mom.
I like seeing how quickly I can make boys cry, so.
I think that's how we became friends.
All right, Tom, which one would you do?
Okay, so of the 3 Robins, again, I will fight Jason Todd because I'll talk about his mom and make him cry. If I want to have someone as my boss, I'm going to have Tim Drake be my boss, because Tim, while intelligent, is also as kind of messy as I am. And frankly, I don't want Dick Grayson, Nightwing, as my boss, because like he comes off, because he's like the first Robin. He's the guy who clearly is the one who sets the standards for everybody else, and I don't want to have to deal with like that kind of person as my boss. I'd much rather be stuck with him in an elevator, because since he's like a former acrobat and triple jointed and everything, he probably will already have found a way out. He might reactivate the elevator and save me, but either way, he has gotten out of the elevator and I don't have to deal with him. He's probably a nice guy. He seems so type A for me that I would not, I couldn't. Just like he would get on my nerves, and I know I would annoy the heck out of that guy.
Kirsten, what do you think?
I don't know these characters well enough to really have an opinion.
Go off of vibes.
You have a tech guy with Tim Drake, you've got an acrobat with Grayson, and you know enough about Jason.
And you have a Redditor with Jason Todd.
He's not that bad. He takes care of his family. Or tries.
I love the implication of that for Redditors.
And it's elevator and what else?
Boss and fight.
I'll be stuck in an elevator with Jason. I like sad boys. I guess the tech bro for a boss, and then the acrobat to fight, because like I'm gonna lose in a fight either way. Might as well like see him do some cool tricks.
So he's the
Okay.
guy, I just pictured the Indiana Jones fight where he's doing like all these flips and whatever, because okay, so no one in the Bat family carries a gun except for Jason. And so you can just pull out a weapon and shoot him while he's doing like all the flips everywhere.
That's an excellent point.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. I also just would assume that because he's got a super suit, it'd be like bullet resistant or something.
Mm-hmm.
if I was going to have to use a weapon against them, I know exactly what weapon I would use, and that is like a comically large cartoon bomb, you know, the black one with the big long fuse, and have a face painted on it of a mother. Like just
Wow.
say
No.
like this is your
Wow.
like, and then have like just traumatize them, put a wig on it, like it's a Bugs Bunny Looney Tune bit, and they'd be too tragic. Like they'd have too much trauma because all of them have lost their mom at some point. They all have mommy issues, and so that's how I would defeat any of them in a fight. Other than like I said, I think if I mention clowns, Jason Todd will go looking for the clowns.
So surprise, Tom was the Joker all along.
I'm not the
We should have
Joker.
known from the smiles.
I'm not the Joker. I'm just someone who thinks that the only way to beat these super serious characters is with like Bugs Bunny nonsense. Oh
Is
God,
that
that's why the
not
Joker
the
is the way
Joker?
he is, isn't it? Oh my God, that's why he is the way he is, isn't it? Ah, okay, whatever.
Okay, I'm going to go again. Let's put some women in here.
Excellent. That's what this podcast needs.
I'm going to. I'm going to do hang out, become roommates with, and eliminate. And I will give you guys Barbara Gordon, Stephanie Brown, and Cassandra Cain.
Can I have pictures?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
those
yeah.
are the first three Batgirls.
I'll go first, and I'm gonna feel bad, but become roommates with Cassandra, because she's very tidy, she's very quiet. Hang out with Barbara, and unfortunately, eliminate Stephanie, which I'm not too thrilled with. But I feel like she'd be a terrible roommate, and she's very loud.
So here's my thing. Knowing Barbara Gordon, who, again, Oracle, the leader of the Justice League, a nexus of all sorts of information, I would eliminate her. And let me tell you how. I would say, hey, Barbara, I'm in some sort of weird situation where I have to become roommates with one Batgirl, I have to hang out with another, and I have to eliminate one. Now, I don't want to actually eliminate any of you, but you, as the nexus of information, I know have the capabilities of making it look like you died for a while. So, which in fact she has done in the comics. She has faked her death multiple times. So she'd just be like, okie dokie, I was due for a vacation. And then, I eliminate, quote unquote, Oracle by having her go on like a vacation for a couple weeks and then she comes back. But that's how I would eliminate her because I am not going up against Cassandra Cain, who is in fact one of like the deadliest people in the Bat family. And also, Stephanie Brown already died once, and everyone hated that so much so that editorial brought her back to life, so I ain't doing that. But in terms of roommates, I would love to be roommates with Cassandra Cain if she would tolerate my presence. It's not just because when I was a teenager I had a crush on her as a character, but it's also just because she is someone who because of her backstory, having been raised by like the League of Assassins and having all sorts of stuff, she has this very fastidious sense of self, but also a very forgiving personality because of the amount of stuff that she's been through. So I just figure that with the amount of stuff she's been through, if I like accidentally wash something with like the wrong setting in the dishwasher, she won't make a huge deal out of it. I will just try to promise to do better. Though she might leave me like a note that's like pinned to the wall with a knife. And Stephanie Brown, who is a delightful person, but she probably would be so exhausting to live with because she's got such high energy, no matter how delightful she is. So she's definitely a hangout. Also, Cassandra Cain is someone who is working on reading and she's always working on developing her literacy skills. As someone who literally works in that field, I can't promise to be like the best teacher because I mostly work in different like areas of that sort of thing. But I do have a lot of opportunities and a lot of stuff that she could use and resources at my disposal. So I could probably be useful as a roommate.
Kirsten, you go.
Okay, we're just going off vibes here.
Okay.
I'd be roommates with Barbara. I'd be friends with Cassandra, and I would eliminate Stephanie.
Any particular explanations or just.
Barbara seems like a chill adult who would be good for a roommate, and Cassandra seems like a fun friend, and Stephanie looks a little too peppy.
So Barbara does have a habit of blowing up her living quarters in order to fake her death.
That's
Yes.
what
Kirsten would just need a
that's
heads
what
up.
renter's insurance would be.
Yeah, that's where number one, insurance. Number two, that means you get to move to a nice clock tower across town because it's always a clock tower for some reason. That's just
You
the
gotta
best.
have a good vantage point.
Yeah, but like also like living in a clock tower, if you can handle the noise, the vibes are immaculate.
I think I would I would hang out with Barbara Gordon. She seems really fun and very smart, and I could learn a lot from her. I would be roommates with Cassandra Cain because Cassandra Cain seems like a badass and I just like her. And I would eliminate Stephanie Brown because no offense to everybody who likes Stephanie Brown, but she's a little boring.
We need to get you some good Stephanie Brown comics.
I guess so.
Though then again, a lot of people do have a lot of dislike of spoilers. But
Oh, jeez. All right, somebody else do one.
Do we want to go to some of the comic ones?
Sure, but I might not, like Kirsten and I might not know them, but you go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I guess mine was more of a, like, if we have answers for this. So, like, do you have a comic or a manga that you would read forever, want to read again for the first time? So one that, like, impacted you and you would just love to be able to read it again for the first time. And then one to never touch again.
I have an answer for that for me. The Read Forever is one that I always love called 52. I've mentioned it many times on here before. It is a great series. It's gigantic. It's a super long series, but it tells you a great story with a wide cast of characters. And there are some misses, but it hits way more than it misses and genuinely gets lets you see good characters who are not the same core, A-listers, and because of that, they're allowed to have character development. Read again for the first time. I have no idea if I could ever swing this on this podcast just because of some of the subject matter in the comic, but Immortal Hulk, hands down, that was a transformative experience for me to read. I like the Peter David Hulk story. There's a lot of good in it. Immortal Hulk builds on that in such a way as to just live in my head rent free, where you have these conversations, and like it's a comic about the Hulk where there's two guys in a diner who are arguing about theology, and like it's actually well written, and I'm just like, man, I'm really invested in these two guys talking about theology. It also has like an author who did research and talk to people who have DID in order to accurately portray Bruce Banner having DID and how that works. And it also took a character who is archetypically one of the more scary, villainous characters of the Hulk, that being the Devil Hulk, which is, to make a long story short, it's the big scary version of the Hulk rather than just like, there's the childlike Hulk, but there's also the really deep-seated, angry, scary Hulk. And the scary Hulk, the Devil Hulk, actually gets to become a much more well-realized character, and I really loved him. Hands down, absolutely adore that entire story. I've been told I should read Infernal Hulk, which is like a spiritual successor to it by a different writer. So I'd love to see what a writer who also loves that book wrote. And Never Touch Again. We were never going to probably cover this unless we really want to cover bad comics. It's called All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. A lot of people abbreviate it as ASBAR because that's about the equality it is. It is the guy who wrote The Dark Knight Returns, which is one of the big books that defines Batman as a character, but it is so horrifically badly done. It, for all intents and purposes, is this... It is a comic that I own a trade paperback of it, because if I explained anything about it, you would think I was joking or exaggerating, but it is one of the most like bitter and angry pieces of Batman related media that is so mean-spirited. It makes me genuinely wonder if the writer ever liked Batman at all, which is crazy because like Frank Miller can never shut up about wanting to write more Batman. And yeah, no, it's a comic I own and I have on my shelf because I know in a couple decades people will say that didn't happen, that doesn't exist. And I'll be like, no, seriously, here, read it. So, yeah, that's mine.
Jordan, what's yours?
So read forever Fables, because I love any like retelling of like fairy tales, and there are so many different things that happen in it's a long series, and there's so many different things that happen that if you aren't a fan of one character, which I'm not a fan of a couple characters, but it switches enough so that you're not stuck with a character you don't like for a long period of time. I think it has a good mix of different characters and different story arcs, and even the characters that you don't like, if you don't like them in the beginning, a lot of times they redeem themselves, and I just really enjoy it. Read for the first time the Legion 3 boot, so the run of Legion of Superheroes that was written by Mark Waid. Specifically, it was something I picked up as a teenager. I don't think it would resonate the same as an adult. It's specifically a read this as a teenager comic, and it introduced me to the Legion of Superheroes and made me think that, hey, maybe Superman is not so boring because he hangs out with these people.
He's not boring.
Yeah.
It's just positive.
The Never Touch Again is one that I've mentioned before. The Killing Joke should never have been written. I will stand by that. It's terrible.
Did you read it?
Oh, absolutely. It was one of those, I read it as a teenager because it was one of the graphic novels my library had. I read every single graphic novel in my library that was near me. So, and then ordered some from everything else that was in that library system. And when I read that, I went, this is awful. Who wrote this? And I thought for the longest time that I did not like Alan Moore, but he has written other things like Swamp Thing that I do like. So,
hey, listen, Alan Moore agrees with you.
I know.
That is the thing about there are parts of The Killing Joke in terms of prose and in terms of visual storytelling that I like, but it's because the artist and the writer are good artists and writers, even if the story does some terrible ideas, and I can get that from other stuff they've done.
Mm-hmm.
That said, it is still leagues ahead and better than the movie.
I have not and will not watch that movie.
Yeah, if they start paying us $1 million a month on Patreon, then we can make Jordan watch the Killing Joke movie.
There's no amount of money in the world that would make me watch that movie.
Kirsten, do you want to do that prompt with manga?
Sure. I mean, the easy one to read forever would be One Piece, by the time you get done.
Oh, like literally just reading
Yeah,
it forever.
I mean, by the time
The
you get
manga
done,
that never ends?
Yeah, I feel like that's the way to go here. I think I would want to read Fruits Basket again for the first time. Oh, no. I would want to read Hunter x Hunter again for the first time.
Oh, man. Chimera Ant arc for the first time.
Right? If I could watch that again for the first time, that would... To know now what I didn't know then is insane. And then, I don't know. I've read a lot of terrible manga, so...
Tell us about them. Tell us the story, Kirsten. Tell us about the bad manga man.
What do you want to erase from your brain?
Nothing that I can talk about on this podcast. That is a different type of manga that we don't discuss.
At least not for free. Donate to the
Right.
Patreon.
All right. Anybody else want to take a prompt?
Sure. Let's see. What is a crossover event that you would like to have? A solo run you would like to commission? And what would you cancel?
The New 52. All of it. Cancel it.
Well, good news. They did that.
Yes, I know. Specifically, so another one that should never exist is the Red Hood and the Outlaws. I'm like, you had a great team. What the crap did you do? Because on the surface, I would love a story about Red Hood, Speedy, and Starfire. That sounds fantastic. They could cause so much havoc. What the hell?
Again, they had a guy who was literally... since we last talked about this on the podcast, I mentioned that there was the author of that book was in trouble for sexual harassment. He also deleted a lot of his social media after being called out for saying some... I'm trying to think about the best way to say this. Racially charged statements about Miles Morales, the Black Spider-Man. So, like... guy who wrote that book is just absolutely just absolute delight to work with, I assume.
Mm-hmm. So the New 52 is what happens when you get rid of all of your female writers except for one.
And then get rid of her.
Yep. And then bring her back because everyone complained so much. Yeah. But solo run, Ace the Bat Hound. Because Crypto has his own solo run. Ace does not.
He does?
Yes. We need an Ace book.
Oh.
Of course, Jordan wants more Ace representation.
And then crossover event, I want Raven and the Scarlet Witch to have their own run and see what happens. Because we've got one who manipulates reality and one who manipulates emotions. So that could be wild.
I'm just imagining, like, Raven being Scarlet Witch's therapy dog. But, like, Scarlet Witch always has these, like, emotional breakdowns and stuff. And then Raven is just like, okay, Wanda, I know you're having some big feelings right now.
Yeah, and they could be hanging out on Danny the Street or Danny the World, because he becomes a world, or they become a world at one point, and they can all just kind of have therapy world because they're in a safe space, and then they can talk about their feelings and work through some trauma. And I don't understand the hate for Wanda just wanting her kids back.
Okay, you know the crossover event that I would like to see? I would like to see Bucky shipped with Cassandra Cain.
That would be a good... Yeah.
All the trauma.
Well, but then they would, like, help each other. I feel like they would, like, work through it.
You were conditioned to become a assassin against your will? Yeah, same. Oh, cool. And then, like, you broke your programming? Yeah. Oh, cool. And you live with a disability that a lot of people in fanfic forget about? Yeah, me too. I hate it when people forget about my disability when writing me in fan fiction. Let's talk about this more.
Right? Like, I just feel like they would be perfect together. That's my crossover event.
That's such a good idea.
Thank you. I was debating about having him like a Grumpy Sunshine kind of like
They're
deal.
both grumpy.
Yeah, no, I think the Grumpy Sunshine would get old for Bucky pretty fast.
Because isn't that just Cap?
Yeah, Cap.
Who's Cat?
Cap.
Captain America.
Cap.
Yeah.
Captain America is the sunshine to Bucky's grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. Tom, did you answer that one? You should answer that one.
Okay, so crossover event. This is actually much more of a straight putt. This is not me being weird. This is like me balancing the scales from all my weird unhinged stuff up at the top of this thing. I would love to see a crossover event between Crazy Cat and Pogo and Calvin and Hobbes, because Bill Watterson has a huge influence and cites Walt Kelly's Pogo and the comic Crazy Cat as major influences on Calvin and Hobbes. And I would love to have Bill Watterson, like maybe time travel and have some way to collaborate with those things. It's just a sweet thing I think would be cute. And it would be nice to see. And I think after everything Bill Watterson has done, he deserves to have some nice fun times doing comic stuff. When he came in and did like the guest strips for Pearls Before Swine, that made me lose my mind when that happened. That was the coolest thing. So as a solo run, now there are several things that, I talk about. I want more Beta Ray Bill stuff, but fundamentally, we have discussed in an episode that was recorded a little while ago, Batman Noel, which is Batman learning the true meaning of Christmas. I want other superheroes to learn the true meaning of different holidays. I think that'd be funny as all get out.
Yeah.
Like, you have Aquaman learning about Arbor Day.
Flag Day.
Yeah, Flag Day with the Flash. Yeah, and you have, like, May Day with Wonder Woman. Although Wonder Woman probably did, if Wonder Woman was around, she would have probably been helping people out during the Battle of Blair Mountain. Like that sort of thing. I think that'd be funny. And for things to cancel, this is why I was so reticent when I reacted earlier. I want to put a moratorium on the Joker showing up in comics for about 5 years. No Joker. We have to do other supervillains for Batman. Then eventually we can earn the Joker back. He's like, but put him on a top shelf so we can't get to him for a while.
Truly. Kirsten, do you have any picks for this one?
I think for a crossover, see, I don't know what world I would want them to be in. Like, I would want to do Madoka Magica and Sailor Moon, but I think I would want Sailor Moon in Madoka's world, just so they can be like, you're magical girls, we're magical girls. And then, like, they see, like, how fucked it gets. And they're like, hold up. Hold up, guys.
I would say, like, I want the reverse. I want, like, the girls from Madoka Magica who are in this very serious, dark storyline all show up in Sailor Moon and, like, find out that, like, wow, when she saves people, they just turn back to normal and they don't, like, The monsters that they became don't die. They just turn back into normal people. How come we don't get that?
I think it would be funny. I don't remember the girl's name. The girl that like keeps on living.
Homura.
Yeah, Homura. You know how in Sailor Moon, like whenever they die, they just get like reincarnated again?
Mm-hmm.
Like they just keep coming back. I think it would be funny for like them to come back and Homura would be like, "Are you fucking serious? We're all just like it's happening here too. Are you kidding me?"
Wait, even in the nice, happy world?
Yeah.
You want to torture these poor characters.
I mean, yes, that's called Monica
Yeah.
Magica.
It's also just called writing.
Kate, if you are not familiar with Monica Magica, we need to get you into that series because I think
I've seen it.
Okay, good.
I've seen it. People, you just want me to be sad. Kirsten was the first one that recommended it to me under the guise of a magical girl show that I would like.
Yeah.
I genuinely think you would like the psychology of some of the characters. I think the characters are actually written in depth. Now, there's also some other stuff that goes on in that plot that's, if you're not expecting it to be a series that's not for kids, kind of is a swerve.
That first death is a little rough.
When you realize they're killing off characters in this, like, what used to look very bright and colorful. Ironically, when people die in that series, it also is still very bright and colorful.
All right. Okay. I'm going to go back to basics. Fuck, marry, kill. Michael Keaton Batman, Christian Bale Batman, or Robert Pattinson Batman.
None. Kevin Conroy Batman, all of them.
You've got to choose between these that I gave you.
I don't know who Michael Keaton is.
1989 Tim Burton Batman.
You didn't see it when we had it for movie night?
No, I guess I'm killing him off because I don't know.
That's fine.
But he's Beetlejuice.
Definitely killing him off. Marry Robert Pattinson and fuck Christian Bale.
Interesting.
Well, Christian Bale is just like obnoxiously moody.
Yeah, he is.
And that's amazing because one of those people there is Robert Pattinson.
I know, right? Like, I think it would just be too much after a while. Like, it would be me or him. So might as well just do it once and get it over with.
Okay, Tom?
Pass.
Pass. Jordan?
Pass.
Pass. Okay.
We can't introduce a pass to this.
I'm still thinking.
I'll go. So I would kill Michael Keaton Batman because, to be honest, I didn't love his Batman character. Oh, I would marry Christian Bale Batman because I would get Michael Caine Alfred, and I like Michael Caine Alfred, and I like his big house, and he could go like sulk in his basement. And then fuck Robert Pattinson because have you seen that man shirtless? That is where I will go. Tom, you ready?
Okay, yeah. Kill Christian Bale Batman. Least Batman of the Batmen. He feels very self-conscious about being Batman the whole time. I can't stand that level of self-consciousness when you are actually being a theater kid. Like he seems like he's fishing for reassurance and he wants someone to tell him he's doing great, which I will be happy
theater
to do
kid.
that.
He didn't have parents.
Not about that. What I'm saying is like he always gives me the vibe of being kind of like, yeah, I guess I have to dress as a bat. And frankly, if he's going to be doing a creative work, I think he should be proud of his creative work, and I think that he's constantly fishing for reassurance on being a Batman as opposed to just being man or something like that. So, yeah, no, I cannot abide that. Now, fuck Michael Keaton not because I particularly find Michael Keaton attractive. I just think he's weird, and I think it's very fascinating to watch the guy be weird. I don't want to have to live with him. I would never want to live with someone who is like that, but I won't lie. It's very funny. Like sometimes when he gets weird and you're just like, okay, you're going with that performance? Okay.
I can just imagine like you're in the bedroom and you're like, the Beetlejuice costume stays on.
100%.
Yeah, but what's he gonna wear? But anyways, yeah, then of course, marry Robert Pattinson or Robert Battinson as the case may be, mostly because the man in real life is an actual like Bruce Wayne type gremlin. I think he understands being Bruce Wayne so much more than a lot of other people because he also is like a put upon rich guy who is actually just extremely weird and likes to be really weird, and people think he's like a billionaire playboy, and then if they ever get to know him, he scares them away just by how weird he is in real life. Also, for a while, he used to just make up things about his life to see if people would believe him. And he like has made up a story about like seeing a horrible tragedy at a circus. And I'm just like, that's the most Batman backstory thing ever. Oh, actually, he's just like, yeah, I saw this clown car and the clowns died, and so they kept pulling bodies out. And I'm just like, okay, that is like a Batman plot if I'd ever heard one. Again, like, I'm in it for the long haul. I have no idea if no chemistry or whatever. I just find him fascinating as a weird little guy. And so, yeah, I vote for Mary Arbats.
We do know how you love your weird little guys.
Yeah, no, like, listen, again, Hester Beck, Robert Pattinson, they're basically the same thing. Robert Pattinson did make that small village of nothing but clay people who he animated through magic.
All right. Anybody else want to take a prompt or anything?
Yeah, I got one.
All right.
Okay, I would like to do adopt, foster, or kill. And I want you to picture this before we go into this. So, my dog Dexter loved to do this lovely activity where in the middle of the night, he would just stand by my bed and stare at me. So, as I tell you these characters, I would like you to just imagine they're living with you and they're staring at you. Are you okay? So, we have QB from Madoka Magica. That is the evil alien cat. We have Mimikyu from Pokemon, which is the creepy Pokemon that is trying to look like Pikachu. And then we have, of course, Nina Tucker from Full Metal
Oh
Alchemist.
God.
Not little girl Nina Tucker.
Kirsten.
Oh, this is so it's adopt. What is it? It's adopt.
Foster and kill.
Yeah. One's permanent, one's temporary.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I can give you the answer to that easy.
Okay.
You're
Adopt
gonna make Kate sad. Okay.
adopt Nina Tucker, get her some therapy, get her some rehab. For those of you who don't know, Nina Tucker is I assume this is post
Yes.
the event.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Nina Tucker is a girl who got mixed, like magically, and merged with a Saint Bernard named Alexander. So it's basically like a big Saint Bernard with long blonde hair, and it can kind of talk and is intelligent. And yeah, no, I would adopt her and get her into some therapy and help take care of her. If you know anyone with children, waking up and seeing that thing staring at you is like the least scary thing a kid could do. So like anyone who has children already has had to deal with far scarier things. And then definitely foster Mimikyu. I want to help the Mimikyu socialize and everything. I just don't know if I can properly like be the long-term owner of a ghost entity that causes you to go crazy if you look under the sheet it wears, because at some point I would. I love Mimikyu. Mimikyu is a ghost type Pokemon who is self-conscious and afraid people will hate how it looks. So it gets a sheet that it paints to look like a Pikachu, and it walks around with a little fake Pikachu head on top of it.
Okay, that's really
why
sweet.
it has. Yeah, no, that's those two little eyes on the chest of the Mimikyu. That's its eyes, and like the top of its head is a little puppet it's carrying around of Pikachu. And then finally, I am gonna kill Kyubey. Kyubey is the main antagonist of that series. He is evil, evil, evil. And to paraphrase a meme from the Madoka fandom back in the day, Bunny Cat's a dick.
I completely agree with Tom. I had feelings about this Pokemon when you posted the picture, but having learned the backstory, it is absolutely adorable.
Again,
and
this thing is staring at you when you wake up.
Mimikyu is a good boy.
yeah, I don't care.
Mimikyu, in the Pokemon world, there are people who are psychics and like have special abilities to deal with ghosts. I would be happy to help socialize a Mimikyu, but I think it would be best to have a owner who has those psychic abilities to best like deal with ghost type Pokemon. But I would be happy to give Mimikyu a good home for however long she needs it. And like, I don't know, maybe there is a way to like separate Nina and Alexander after the magic that merged them.
See, I would flip Nina and Mimikyu because he is my good boy. I have a giant stuffed animal of him. And I love my ghost types. They're my favorites. So I'd have to adopt him.
But yeah, I think we all would pretty much kill QB because
Okay.
fuck that cat thing.
Bunny Cat is a dick.
Yeah, for real.
I was just thinking that was the least like offensive thing to wake up to out of these three.
Yeah, no, he is the least upsetting to look at because his entire thing is convincing children he is benign so he can trick them into becoming fuel for his evil universe machine thing.
Yes.
He is literally based on the devil from Faust. Like, that is, the creator said so.
Yeah, he's not good.
That said, I would love a plushie of Cube.
Kirsten, what would you choose?
Man, I would probably see. I was gonna adopt the Cube because I was like, it can talk all it's want to, but like, it's not gonna kill me. I don't want to kill Nina, but like, also, I can't wake up to that. I can't.
I mean, at some point, isn't it kinder?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what Scar thought.
Yeah.
she was hurting.
I mean, the other one, the only thing it said was kill me. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's because, like, it was...
This is getting dark, guys.
Yeah,
that was
that's
the
'cause you brought
point.
up Nina
That was the
Tucker.
point of this.
This is Nina Tucker we're talking about. Like, we need to do Full Metal Alchemist for this podcast because, like, it is one of my favorite manga series, and it also was, like, a traumatic event for everyone that age. And for anyone who's listening who isn't familiar with Full Metal Alchemist, I grew up during the heyday of Harry Potter. Full Metal Alchemist involves a teenager who is very gifted at magic, and he and his brother are doing things.
it's
Now,
alchemy.
the thing about Full Metal Alchemist,
It's alchemy. It's not magic.
here's the thing: it was advertised to people who were into Harry Potter, such as 11-year-olds. This is not a series for 11-year-olds. It is a series for older teens who are the same age as the main character, and a bunch of people who were into Harry Potter, or kids who were into Harry Potter, picked up Full Metal Alchemist thinking it was going to be, oh, this is, like Harry Potter, but Japanese. And then they read this book about, like, PTSD from being in a war, illegal and unethical medical experimentation. Clearly, like, grappling with trauma and guilt related to World War II and stuff like Section 31 and commentary about fascism and, like, all sorts of really dark, not just like, oh, edgy, but like adult subject matter and things that require adult emotions and processing skills. And so the first warning shot in that entire book is when Nina Tucker is merged with Alexander in the experiment and comes out as this weird dog-human hybrid. And, like, so many 11-year-olds did not know how to process this. And so that's why it's so traumatic for all of the people of a certain age.
Did they not show Edward's mother before?
No.
They showed like the lump.
They show a shadow. They don't show it in depth.
Until later.
Like, later on,
Okay.
they do. Later on, they show you more. Because, like, when they give you more backstory. But Nina Tucker is the second volume. And the first volume is just literally introducing you to the nature of that world. It's like they fight the guy who's running a cult, who's pretending to be able to do miracles, but he's actually just doing alchemy. And then they have, like, the train robbery, and they go to a mining town and bamboozle a guy and save the mine and save the town. So it's like the first book is very illustrating the world, but in kind of a fun way. And then the really, like, the serious stuff comes up in the second book, and that's when Nina Tucker happens. That's when Scar happens. I can't remember which volume Maze Hughes.
That was so soon after Nina.
Yeah.
That was right after Nina. I
Yeah.
remember. I think it's not the second book, but it's the third volume. But yeah, no, like, that was such, like, Nina and Maze Hughes were like a 1-2 punch of, this is not a series for younger kids. Get off now. And I think it's a great sci-fi fantasy series. I love it so much. Maybe I should have read it when it was, like, 13 and not 11, but I don't regret it at all.
All right. So that is going to be it. Thank you for joining us on Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow comic fans. Also, please consider supporting us via Patreon, where you can listen to episodes before they go live and unlock special bonus content. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.